My husband didn't know I earned $1.5 million a year, then he left me and married his mistress.
It all started when I thought my life was perfect. I had what most people dream about: a loving husband, a beautiful home, a career that I had built myself. I was 32 when I married Mark. To everyone else, we were the perfect couple. We had laughter, stability, and what looked like a fairy tale life. But what nobody knew, not even Mark, was the life I carried quietly in my own hands. I had worked hard, years of late nights, of sacrifices. I had built my success, brick by brick, quietly. I was making over $1 million a year, but I never told him. I wanted our marriage to be about us, not money. I thought I was protecting us. I thought I was protecting him. I never imagined that keeping my truth hidden could one day destroy everything. For years, everything felt fine. I would wake up early, make coffee, and stand on our balcony watching the city wake up. Those quiet moments were mine alone. Mark would come to join me sometimes. We would talk about the day ahead. Sometimes I'd just smile and nod, hiding the fact that I was thinking about the deals I had closed the night before, or the investments I was making. It was my private world, separate from the one we shared. But I loved him. I loved our life. I believed that what we had was safe. Until one evening when something shifted. It was a regular Thursday. I had stayed late at work to finish a project, and when I got home, the house was quiet. Usually, Mark would be cooking dinner or waiting for me to join him. That night, there was nothing, just silence. I thought maybe he was tired. I walked into the bedroom and found his phone sitting on the bed. It wasn't unusual, but somehow I was drawn to it. Without thinking, I picked it up. The screen lit up with messages, not the usual quick, "I'm home," or "What's for dinner?" They were long messages from a woman I didn't know, filled with warmth, inside jokes, and plan. I just sat there in our bed, staring at the box Mark had left behind. It wasn't just a box. It was a symbol of betrayal, of secrets, of a life that was no longer mine. My hands shook when I opened it. Inside, there was a stack of photographs, receipts, and a small letter folded neatly. My fingers trembled as I unfolded the letter. His handwriting was careful, deliberate. "I can't live like this anymore," it said. "There are things between us you don't know, things I can't accept. I'm sorry." No explanation, no answers. Just those words. My chest tightened. I couldn't breathe. I read the letter again and again, hoping for something, anything, that would make sense. But the silence that followed was louder than anything I had ever heard. For the first time, I realized I didn't just lose Mark that night. I lost my sense of certainty. The foundation of my life cracked beneath me. Everything I thought was safe felt like it was slipping away. I wanted answers. I needed them. But more than that, I was afraid of what those answers might reveal. The next day, I went back to work, pretending as if nothing had happened. But my mind was elsewhere. Every email, every meeting, every phone call felt distant. I couldn't focus. My life had been split into before and after. And in this after, I was drowning in questions I didn't know how to ask. That evening, I decided to follow him. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds desperate. But I had to know why. My heart told me there was more to this story than Mark was willing to admit. I drove quietly, keeping my distance. I watched him pull into a small apartment building I'd never seen him visit. Through the tinted glass of my car window, I saw him step inside with her. My stomach turned. It was real. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was the truth I had feared. I sat in my car for what felt like hours, watching them disappear inside. My thoughts spiraled. I thought of every moment we had shared, the smiles, the quiet mornings, the dreams we built together. Had any of it been real? Or was it all just a carefully crafted lie? That night, I cried, not just for myself, but for the truth I had buried so deep I had forgotten it existed. And I knew, deep down, that this wasn't just about a marriage ending. It was about something far bigger. Because sometimes, the hardest battles aren't fought in public. They're fought in silence, and my silence was breaking me. The days after I followed him felt like I was living underwater. Everything was muffled, slow, and hard to breathe. I went through my routine, but inside, I was unraveling. Every time my phone buzzed, my heart jumped. Every sound in the house made me tense. Mark wasn't answering my calls, not one. And when I passed his things in the closet, the emptiness hit harder than I expected. His cologne, his shoes, the way his clothes still smelled faintly of him, it was a cruel reminder that he had chosen to walk away. I started digging, not because I wanted to hurt him, but because I needed to understand. I began piecing together the fragments of his life I'd ignored. I found phone bills with numbers I didn't recognize, unexplained withdrawals from our joint account, and emails he had deleted. Every detail I uncovered was like a new cut. Small, but enough to bleed me dry. One afternoon, I decided to confront him. I knew where he was staying. The small apartment I'd seen him enter weeks before. I stood outside for a long time, my chest tight, my palms sweating. My mind raced with 1,000 questions. I didn't know what I expected. Apologies, explanations, maybe even rage. But what I wanted most was the truth. When the door opened, it wasn't Mark alone. She was there. The woman from his messages. She smiled when she saw him. He smiled back. And in that moment, I felt something I can't describe. Something heavier than heartbreak. It was like my entire world was collapsing, piece by piece, right in front of my eyes. I didn't say anything. I just drove away. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly I thought my knuckles might break. The car's hum felt deafening. I drove aimlessly, letting the road swallow me whole. My mind kept returning to the same question. How could he choose her over me? How could he not even try to understand what I had built, what I had carried alone all these years? That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat in our empty house, staring at the dark. I could hear my own breath, slow and uneven, like I was afraid if I inhaled too deeply, everything would shatter. I kept thinking about how easy it is to break someone without even touching them. Over the next few days, I started noticing things I had never noticed before. The quiet in our bedroom, the weight of the bed without him there, the way the sunlight no longer felt warm. It was as if the whole house had stopped breathing. And then, one morning, I found something that made my blood run cold. An unopened letter tucked inside his jacket pocket. The handwriting was different. It wasn't his. I opened it with trembling fingers, and inside was something I never expected. Evidence that he had known about my earnings all along. He hadn't left because of money. He had left because of something far more painful. That discovery changed everything. It made me question not just our marriage, but my own judgment, my own ability to know the people I loved. I realized that sometimes people leave not because they have no reason to stay, but because they carry a secret they cannot share. From that moment, I knew I couldn't just sit in the wreckage of what was left. I had to face the truth. And that truth was going to change me forever. The morning I decided to confront Mark, I woke up feeling a storm inside me. I couldn't eat, couldn't focus, couldn't even think straight without my mind looping back to that letter. Every word haunted me, but it wet. It's the silence between them that cut deeper. I knew this was it, the moment where everything I had ignored, everything I had hidden from myself, was going to surface. I drove to that small apartment again, the same one where I had first seen him with her. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tight, I thought they might break. My heart was pounding, not just from anger, but from fear. I didn't know if I was ready for what I would find inside. When I reached the door, I paused. The hallway was quiet except for the faint sound of voices. I stepped closer, my breath shallow. I could hear them laughing. Mark's voice, hers. It was unbearable. My chest tightened and my vision blurred. I wanted to scream, but I stayed silent. I knocked. Once. Twice. The laughter stopped. The door opened slowly, and Mark looked at me. His face shifted. Surprise, guilt, something I couldn't name. I stepped inside without a word. The air was thick, the scent of her perfume lingering. He tried to speak, but I stopped him with a look. I pulled out the letter from my bag and placed it on the table between us. His eyes flickered to it. "You know," I said softly, my voice trembling. "You never told me. You never told me what you knew about me. And you left without a word." His silence spoke volumes. I took a deep breath, fighting the urge to collapse. "Do you even understand what you've done?" I asked, tears streaming down my face. "This isn't just about us. This is about trust, about truth, about everything I gave you. And you threw it away." She stepped aside quietly, and Mark's gaze fell to the floor. My chest was tight, my throat raw. I could barely breathe. It felt like my world had been ripped apart. I wanted answers, but I realized I already knew them. His choice was clear. I walked out of that apartment without another word. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding so loud it felt like it would burst. The hallway felt endless, like every step was pulling me deeper into something I couldn't escape. I got into my car and drove without knowing where I was going. Tears blurred my vision. Anger and grief battled inside me. I thought about all the years we had spent together, the dreams we had built, and I realized something. There would never be closure with him. No apology could heal this. That day, something inside me shifted. I understood that some wounds don't close, they transform you. And this wound was going to change me forever. Because when the truth finally hits you, there's no going back. I drove for hours after that night, letting the road swallow me. Somewhere between the dark streets and the flickering lights, I realized I wasn't just running from Mark. I was running from myself. From the truth I had buried so deep, I hadn't even realized it was there. When I finally stopped, it was near the edge of the city, where the noise faded and only the wind and my thoughts remained. I sat there, car still running, staring out at nothing. My body was exhausted, but my mind was wide awake. Every detail of those last weeks replayed in my head. The laughter behind that closed door, the coldness in Mark's eyes, the letter I had found. It wasn't just about losing him. It was about losing trust, about the realization that someone I had built a life with could carry secrets so deeply. It made me question everything, my marriage, my judgment, even myself. But the pain taught me something I needed to hear. Pain doesn't always break you. Sometimes it opens your eyes. I went home the next day, not because I wanted to go back to what we had, but because I wanted to close the door on it. I walked into that empty house with a strange calm. The walls were the same, but I was different. I let myself stand in the silence, letting the grief and the anger wash over me. And then, slowly, I began to breathe again. This isn't just my story. It's the story of so many who have been betrayed, who have been blindsided, who have learned the truth the hard way. The pain doesn't disappear, but it changes you. You can let it destroy you, or you can let it make you stronger. Mark chose his path. I chose mine. And mine is not about revenge or regret. Mine is about knowing my worth, even when someone else refuses to see it. So I ask you, if you're sitting there wondering whether to hold on or let go, what would you choose? And how long will you wait before you start living for yourself? Because at the end of the day, the truth doesn't just hurt, it sets you free.